Hello and welcome back everyone. I have to be honest with you, my massive warship is starting to look more like a freighter than anything else. There is a lot of potential to it though, but when I look at it at a glance, it looks more like a freighter. And we need to fix that somehow. It still looks pretty decent there. I think I should get rid of this component here. And also, for the last video, I chose to flip over this cockpit piece here, so that way we had this like the little points sticking underneath rather than up on top, so there's a little more work that needs to be done there, but hopefully we're getting close to some real progress. I believe maybe we're getting close to finishing this. I'll just leave it at that length there, maybe. It's not too bad there. It probably needs a little bit of flushing out, of course, but we'll worry about the fine-tune afterwards. So I decided to shrink down the engines. It's not too bad. The question is, do I want to leave them like that, or do I actually want to bring them in? Which kind of is going to be a little bit interesting, a little bit more dynamic. Because now we got this big massive area in the back. So I'm wondering what looks better. Having it stay in the back there like this, but as smaller engines, or just leave them in the front here. And then have this big massive area to use for... I have no idea what I would use them for. So that's interesting to think about. Not sure what exactly I want to do. And I definitely don't want the engines down there. It doesn't seem like it's balanced well enough as if you think about where the engines are compared to where the majority of the weight of the ship is. So maybe I want to leave the engines there. I don't know how big I want them. It looks like we're going to need a couple more smaller thrusters maybe to help offset it a bit. But yeah, we're slowly making progress. Okay, and with that said, how do I want them flipped? I think I want them to stay like that, because that way they can slot into the back relatively well. Then we could possibly get like a singular curved piece maybe to fill out, to kind of attach itself with the engines there. So the thing is, can this be small enough that actually won't have the same issue that I have with the top piece, whereas the textures are really well stretched out? Can I make it look good enough even? Because I want to kind of fit the piece that's behind it there in a relatively decent way, but at the same time, maybe not? I don't know. I am not sure. Because what happens if I try and fit it in the form to extent? That's not bad, but it kind of is for some reason not centered. It might seem this right. Something's not quite centered for some reason. That's the feel I'm getting here, and I'm not sure why. Yeah, something's not centered. It's weird. There's a bit of a gap on the right and not on the left, so do I have to offset everything? And how will that look? Kind of weird it's not centered though, I gotta say. Now with that said, does that help it look any better? I'm not sure, because I don't know if this piece moved with everything else or not. I assume this moved with this, because that's what I attached it to, right? Okay, I think that helped a little bit there. Bit of a needless adjustment, and it probably messed up everything else. No, it looks pretty good. I'm not sure what happened to have that offset as it did. Now we gotta fill out the side here somehow with some extra superstructure. Just not sure what would be a good way to fill that out in a relatively simple way. Maybe I could put like these pieces in there, kind of like a vent almost, for like the engines. Or is this a stupid idea? Is this kind of a stupid idea? I'm not sure. Gave it a nice chin to the neck there. But that's not what I want there. We're gonna try and rotate this into place. And I have no idea what to expect from this, to be honest. I have no idea, but There might be a bit of a gap even if it does fit in there relatively well, so I'm gonna have to put one extra additional piece in once it is in place. And probably want to twist it a little bit too so it's a better fit. Yeah, a bit of a gap there like I said. So if I rotate sideways, it doesn't really seem like it does much. At least from that angle. Maybe if I do it sideways like this, or hell, flip it the other way. And then put it into place. Maybe that'll have a little bit better result. Once I get my damn axes right. Seems to be a consistent theme that I'm having issues with. Keep scrolling the wrong axis there. And keep having to double backtrack as a result. Okay, that seems decent. It just needs to be stretched a fair amount. Lift it up a tiny bit. Stretch it a bit more. And I think we're good. How does that seem? Does it need any filling out? Probably just the top of the engines. Only thing I can think of. And I think we could do that with something small. What would be a good small... Let's see, if I make this as small as possible, can this just barely fill out? I probably would use two pieces there, because in the middle it might not work. I just gotta find a good connection point though, which is the hard part. Because none of them want to highlight where I'm connecting. You'd think with so many red dots I have plenty of choices available to me, but since nothing wants to highlight, I'm left completely clueless. I guess this will have to do. And I got so many components here I actually have to scroll down to a second page. And there's kind of one thing I was playing with was the thought of having like two of these components, and they're like having extra components like this on a bottom half. It just looked like a big beetle or big blob. It actually would be fairly decent, but it would need a lot of cosmetic work on the bottom, which is something I don't think I want to do now. That sounds like too much work for what's supposed to be a video series. It would be fun to experiment with, but I doubt now is a good time to do that. And besides, we're getting relatively close to finishing, it feels like, if I do this right. Now, like I said, I think I want two components that are a bit smaller. So we'll get those components in, we'll offset it. And let's see, how can I make this work? Is there any way I want to make it work aside from maybe just the back portion there? I don't think I want the metal frame to be connecting at all, so if this can fill relatively well with this, then I think we're good. 90 degrees, so we're only going to get a small portion. I'm getting the axes wrong again, damn it. It's not helping very much. There, a tiny bit more with the said. There. It's not the prettiest though. Only thing, because of the metal frame. Almost want to make it longer maybe? That's not longer. Because that could connect with the metal frame down below to an extent. And I'm doing it again, damn it. I gotta stop playing with these axes like I am. Okay, that I guess that should be actually that can work pretty well. It looks like it's circular piece now. I'm okay with that. All that's left, I feel, is somehow filling out the side here because we got some little spikes poking out, which I'm quite frankly not really fond of. And then we gotta fill out the top of the shell somehow. How the hell am I gonna do this? A lot of circular pieces, ideally. I'm just not sure what would be good. Because none of these are like circular balls almost, except for maybe this one piece here. Only problem is I'd be tempted to kind of make it look consistent with the three pieces that have front here. That's the only downside with that. come to think of it, would rotating this out fix some of it? Because it is sticking in there some. Well, again, problem is it's not letting me rotate the way I want. So much for that idea. Damn it. I just want it to stick out. It's not letting me stick out, rotate out, it's just twisting. So I'm left wondering. For now. So much for that idea. So what's a good way to fill at the back? Just a tiny bit. I just don't want this to be too drastically big. It helps if I get the connection piece I want though, damn it. Okay, I guess I'll have to do. I'm gonna guess I have to do. And when I finally click the scaling, there we go. You can tell I'm starting to get a little bit annoyed by this. Because it feels like I took an exorbitantly long time with the top piece and it still doesn't seem like it's worthwhile just yet. To my misfortune. Now, how do we make this look good? How can we make this look good? I'm not sure. Because as soon as I get up the scale, that bottom piece is going to start sticking out. And yet I like it this way because it allows me to stretch it out some, to an extent. So I'm not sure how is a good way to go about this. Also, if I could just twist this, that would be nice too. But because it's angled, it's annoying. There we go. That helps a little bit, but can I rotate anything else? Not really, because as soon as I rotate like that, it goes sideways because of the placement. Which is annoying. Have to deal with this again. Come on, let me find some damn better spot to place this thing. Let me just place on the bottom, get my copy, put into place, and then we don't have to worry about this crap. Hopefully. Hopefully. Where's my devils? I thought I made a copy. Where the hell is my copy? Oh, it's up top, that's why. That explains it. Now, hopefully this will fix the issues I have. And rotate back, because I don't want to rotate like the others, ideally. Again, I already mentioned the problems I would have before with it. And I can almost use those as like additional engine thrusters even. With something attached to the back. So that's an idea. Only thing is that gap there needs to be filled, so I have an easy way to fix that. I don't know if this is the ideal piece, or if I just want to use the other piece I used before as kind of like a vent. Especially since that piece is now hidden. Might not be a bad idea. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get used to scrolling down to different pages. This is a new experience for me. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Or just me trying to overdo it, thinking about this too much, trying to make it look too fancy, and probably failing horribly at it. Who knows? Time will tell. The viewers will decide even. And I will cherish the fact that this will be my first large-scale cruiser, ready to commit to war against the dragon. Oh, and I still have to make a copy to kind of fill out the other side. Oops, that's the wrong copy. There we go. I think I'm okay with that. Maybe a bit longer. Change the scale to be a bit longer. Move it forward just a tiny bit. Might have to rotate as for effect now because of how it sticks out. Now, what rotation am I happy with? Sync like that, but it needs to offset back again. Okay, that's good. Now, thrusters. Can we fit decent thrusters on here? Only problem is that's dual thrusters. I don't know if that's going to fit the way I like. Not sure. I think these engines are not quite capture the feel I'm looking for, and of course now is the hard part of getting it to connect where I want it to, which is probably an impossible feat. No, somehow we got it, even though it did not highlight for me there, as with the connection point, but we got where I needed to. Get that as small as possible and fit that in there quickly as simple little thrusters. Nothing fancy, nothing exciting. It only works. Now, do you want to flush them in more or stick them out more? That's the only question I don't quite know. They look good as is. And sticking them out seems a little excessive. So yeah, that's pretty good. Little smaller thrusters. Everything's good. Maybe just one cosmetic piece might be good on the bottom there, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I like that box, but it leaves my options open a little bit. Like I said, that could be like a carrier bay of some kind if I choose to make this thing a carrier. Only thing left is this shell piece, and I'm really sick and tired of this piece. Because it feels like a lot of work for fairly, almost no gain. Because I still question if it's actually a good complement to what I want in this ship. But hopefully this will be the easiest part of the shell to fill out. It's just getting the side covered up respectably well. Because ideally I want to just cover the width. With some gaps maybe, but those gaps can easily get filled out. And maybe if somehow cover up the bottom piece, I don't know what's ideal there. I'm not sure what exactly is ideal. What would look best? Because yeah, that kind of looks odd with how it kind of covers over a metal frame. That's my big complaint, because a lot of those overlapping metals, and of course this texture here looks way too big, is the other part of the reason why I want to cover it up, at least partially. So, where this helps improve the ship, I honestly don't know. This one I'll have to look back on and think, because I am trying to put a lot more effort into this, and not sure if it made the grade, as it were. So we'll see. This one I want to do a little bit different, as I want it kind of at a slight angle when I rotate in. Which might be tricky, because with how I suffered doing rotations 4, as apparent with this front piece here in the back, this might turn out to be a nightmare for me. Alright, let's scale in. I probably won't have the tip poking out as much, or at least I'll probably have content to let it just sink into the ship, ideally. And then it's just a matter of getting this width and all that figured out. Now, how does off-sailing work? How is that going to look when I put it in? I dislike them. It looks like it's just patched on because of how these metal frames are curved. That's the only thing I really dislike. Yeah, and of course, I can't twist it any further because of the curve as much, it seems. So it seems. Okay, I think I'm making progress now. If only a little bit. Oh boy, this is going to take a while, isn't it? I don't even know this is going to make it look very good either. Okay, am I making progress? Okay, I think I got it. Almost. Just going to offset in. Put it in its proper place. And hope that's good enough. Now, do I make it bigger or not, and how would that look? Because that obviously is not ideal. I don't like it. I don't like how the metal's frame is kind of overlapping, damn it. Just wanted to add some extra bulk to it, and it looks like it's just patched on work. It's nothing very impressive, is it? If I had an easy way to cover over this metal trim, might not be a bad idea. It might not be so bad. Oh, what the hell? I just noticed this piece here does not have its mirror component. There we go. That fixed that some. But I don't know where else to go with this thing. And again, it looks like it's just mainly patched up there. Relatively poorly there up top, so I'm not exactly fond of it. I wish I knew a better way to get some more out of this. Because, let's see, it's not too bad up top. It's when you zoom in that I'm disliking it. Because this texture is overly huge. But for the sake of it for now, do I want to stop and call the wrap? I kind of want to... kind of want to cover over the front somehow. I don't know how to go about doing that though. I did have a piece there, I wasn't fond of it. I think for the sake of it, and I'm not fuming over it for hours needlessly on a video, I'm just going to save it now and do little touch-ups maybe as we go along. So, this is going to be my first large-scale ship once I get the scaling right, or the caps activate. This is going to be my Guardian. It's primarily going to be an escort ship. What the hell is this? Let's see. It will defend support and capital ships, which I think is what I want, because ideally, optimally, I already had these planned to protect my capital, my main flagship, my huge ships, and of course capital ships if I had any there. What does escort do? Its primary asset is capital ships, and it will protect supports. Okay, there we go. Attack assaults and escorts and interceptors and assault. Okay, so I'll make it an escort, I guess. Oop, let me fix that. Finally, I think we're done. I'm a little bitter about it, just a little bit, but overall it's not too terribly bad at a glance. I just feel like there's so much more I could do with this to justify what this ship is supposed to mean for my fleet. Let's arm it though. We got 210 mass to work with. And I think the first thing I want to do is give it some speed. I'm not going to put like 2 hyper warp drives on this thing. I'm not even sure if I want to put 2 hyper warp drives on this thing. Or a single one. What's the speed difference? 6 and 11. I'll just stick with the ion drives. What's the mass difference though? 14, 11, so it's not that significant. Who am I kidding? Let's get the hyper warp drive, damn it. We're just going to throw that, sink that in there. No one will be the wiser. No one even know it's there. And just sink it right into the engines. There, engine's done. Kind of half tempted to put thrusters on this, because we got good quality thrusters to use even, which is not terribly bad. I don't think there's any place I want to put them that's ideal though. And at least then I will only have to use 1 thrusters in hell. Actually, let me compare these with the ion thrusters. 9.6. Yeah, so these are a lot better for my Hornets. I could use these for my Hornets as well. And only double the maintenance. This is... I think I got a nice upgrade available for my Hornets now. I just gotta get around to doing that, I guess. Alright, let me get this component on here, damn it. Alright. I would love to actually make a second piece of this here. I think I have a good idea where I want to put it. We're going to see if this works out well or not. We'll find out in a moment. What's this zoom out? Where the hell is it? Okay, I'm wondering why the hell it was going the wrong way. Because you figured at this point I would have had his pick poking out after the amount of scaling I was doing. So there's my idea. Just put it right there to kind of help fill out the space here. Now, do I poke it out extra or not? It seems to... Because sadly, they do not seem like thrusters engines at all, do they? So I'm wondering... I don't think I want them sticking out almost at all. Aside for the little light there, they look like sensors more than engines, unfortunately, but hell, I'll work with it. Okay, we got weapons, I'll worry about them last. I do not think I want to put any defenses on here, because my second large-scale ship, which I already have envisioned in my mind there, is going to be like a supercharged version of my pulverizer, and that's going to utilize all these defenses here. So, to try and truly make this thing all around useful, I'm going to keep this without its armor, or at least armor defenses. And what is this? Allow the ship to repair itself in battle. That sounds nice. For something that's supposed to be a wall, that's cool. And this thing even looks fancy. This, well, I don't know what the hell. This looks like a torpedo. Those look like ships more than anything else. Although, I got copies there. I want a single one, damn it. Give me the right component. I want to connect it to the right spot. There we go. We got a ship and a ship. If only I knew this piece existed, I could probably use this for like my prototype. Hell, to be honest, this is something I can use for a new ship later on down the road. The only problem is it's an actual component, which is going to be a little bit odd. But this piece here is already setting up to be something I can use for some other ship design. I just find it funny that it actually looks like a damn ship. So, there's that. Do I want any of it sticking out at all or not? No, I don't think I want it sticking out that much. Adjust scaling, and that looks like a nice addition to the bottom there, I gotta say. I was not expecting that. To have an easy way to put something on the bottom there. But it works. A little bit. It doesn't look like a component of any kind as a result, but it still adds a little bit more to the bottom. Actually, let me offset it down a bit more. How far down do I want it to go? Yeah, if I do it too much, it starts to look like another ship, which means it needs to be a carrier of some kind. I need to be careful of that. Just a little bit. But yeah, that's not too bad. That was convenient. All the train's starting to pay off, I guess. So what else do we want to throw on here? Survey modules. Oh. Well, I have a use for thulium now, but is it worth it? Probably not with only 2 sensor range. And I don't need to survey anomalies anymore. But I could now if I want. What about my other detectors? 4 sensor range. We got a jamming array using thulium, which is impossible to do. We have a carrier module, which I haven't bothered using for. And I know nothing about how effective these assault fighters are. Well, I guess I kinda do, maybe. Because the star bases, I had to fight 2 of them. They were like 45 health. They're 52 mass, which is quite excessive. I don't know if that's really worth it or not. That's the only complaint I have there. I think it's worth testing, I guess, to see. But knowing really nothing about the damage potential of the fighters, how effective they are, it is still up in the air, needless to say. And I was saying how this would potentially be like a carrier ship, so how convenient that we fit it right there. Sadly, it doesn't seem like much of a hangar bay, does it? But it fits right in perfectly. Now, anything else I want on this thing? I don't think I care about life support too much. I don't know if I want the scanners are not. And I am able to put like a second carrier bay on there if I so wish. With the amount of mass it takes up, I probably don't want to. Again, I'll have to wait and see how effective just 2 of them are first. Armor I decided I don't want. We got projector fields, which would be cool. The only problem is that for large scale ships that are not going to be, there's not going to be very many of them. I would imagine these disruptors are not nearly as effective. Although to be fair, I haven't really tried them. So I think I'm going to experiment with that first, at least with just the armor field first. I'm going to experiment with that just to see if there is a difference. I don't plan on keeping them, but just for the sake of experimentation. And I think these X spots up top here have room for me to put it on there. I just need it to fit in there properly, damn it. And it's not doing it very well for me. Now I'm going to have a fun hassle trying to fit this in, am I? Oh well. It helps fill out the bald spot, as it were, for these components, so I think I'm okay with it. Maybe it doesn't do it single-handedly, but it helps. It helps a little bit. Now, that's pretty good. I guess that's pretty good. There's maybe rotate a tiny bit to make it look like it's sinking into that metal frame. Just a little bit. There. It's a little twisted and crooked as a result. Damn it. I'm suffering from these rotations again, aren't I? There, that's a little better. Not much, but better. It's kind of still annoying, because I'd rather have it up there. Let me try, see how it looks up front. I'll get this figured out sometime, I swear. These curves are a real nightmare to me, aren't they? Okay, I guess that helps a little bit. Kind of needless cosmetic work, but if it helps out, it helps. So I can't complain one bit. So that's just strictly to experiment with how the armor rating is impacted, judging by its size, because I can only get one of them there, so maybe it's more effective. Now, we'll get to weaponry. And I don't think I want to have a single type of weapon on. But before I go about putting like lasers and railguns on here, I want to know how many of these recharges and reloaders till it's useful. Because rapid reloader can be negated with good accuracy bonuses. So basically 50% rate of fire. No, that doesn't cut it in half. That basically gives it 50% boost. So if I understand right, every 2 railguns gives it an extra free one for 8 mass. So, and let's see, rate of fire. 30% rate of fire, but lowers damage 15%. That's going to be a little bit harder to justify. And the missile sister is simple, and that's 25 rate of fire boost. So, from what I understand, with the possible exception of the accuracy down here, which can be negated to an extent, 4 of these will basically give me the same value as an extra laser. And maybe then some, depending on the mass, maintenance, and all that. That's the vibe I'm getting here. Now, the real question is, do I want prototype? Well, I don't think I want the prototype ones, but do I want the uranium railguns? How many do I plan to have of these to actually justify this? How does it even look? Does it even look any different? Yeah, it looks different. I'm going to put 1 uranium railgun on each of these things. I don't know how many I'm going to have, to be perfectly honest, which is kind of like I was wondering about those armor integrity field. But I think that's a good way to help boost this damage. What's the mass? 7 versus, well, same mass, and I can still get upgrade potential of uranium drivers. So we're actually starting to make use of uranium to an extent. Do I want to leave it massive scale or something smaller? Because this sounds like a nice devastating frontal fire weapon. I like the potential. What's its accuracy? 90%, and if I put minus 15 on it, so yeah, that puts it at 75. So it's a fair chance to hit there, 75% chance. And again, I could boost that back up to a certain point. Now, how many railguns do I want on here? I want railguns and probably some lasers. I don't think I want extra missile slot or not. Wait a minute, I'm thinking about this wrong. The Dragon are armor resistant, are they? That's going to be a bit of a problem as far as fighting the Dragon. So I need to be very careful of that. Let me just quickly save. And no, I do not want you as a support. I don't know where the hell you get this idea, you stupid thing. Now, I'm just curious. This will be the first time I zoom out. I want to see what the Dragon are armed with. Oh, that's very helpful. I don't even see a single damn Dragon ship anywhere. Let's have a quick look and see. Yeah, they are laser based with our kinetic weapon or armor resistance, so this is going to change things a little bit, I think.